As a business owner, I get bombarded with thousands of emails from other services trying to get me on a call with them to perhaps learn more about their services or have me buy a product from them. And the truth is, I rarely open those emails because they tend to look like the typical cold outreach email, until a couple of months ago, where I started getting these hyper personalized emails where they would mention the name of my business, the industry that I was in, alongside other information. And I would think, well, these people actually took their time to go through my Google Maps profile and also through my website in order to really understand the problems that I was having. So I would think, okay, let's open their emails, which is what they want, and get in a call with them. And then I realized, well, perhaps they're using some automation tool or software to do this entire process and them not having to lift a single finger. And then I thought, well, perhaps we could build this in n8n. And that's what I did for today's video. I built this very simple but effective AI system in n8n that allows you to search for businesses in Google Maps, which honestly is a goldmine to finding these small to medium businesses, so that you can extract that information from Google Maps and use that to create these very personalized emails so that your open rate can go up and you can sell more products or getting more calls with businesses. If that sounds good, let's get started so I can show you how this works. Okay, so I'll show you a few examples of emails that I received, in this case regarding my YouTube channel. So this one, for example, the only thing they do is they mention my channel name, which honestly, it's a bit of a giver, right? It gives away already. If you add the AI Studio part at the end, it gives it away. And that's it. The rest is just there. It's static, right? So not much going on. So I would personally not read this email and click any links. It's just boring. Then we have this one where they put their name, but they also put an example of my video, okay? Which it's good. It's a bit better, right? And then you have the email that I've created with the system. I just ran a test. The person actually replied back. But if I zoom in here, you can see that I was checking out diamond dealers on Google Maps. I came across your company. Your collection looks stunning and it's impressive how well okay? So you can add a couple of other variables as well that I've added from Google Maps, and you can even personalize it further. So here I have a few more examples, and you're going to see how they slightly differ. Your focus on blow artistry and lit brush looks fantastic. Your unique offerings really caught my eye. So they are slightly different, and that's because we are passing it through a LLM. So we're giving information about the business to an LLM, right? It's the same variables, but the thing is that once passed to an LLM, then every email is going to be different. It's going to have that element of personal touch. So no email is going to be the same. And that's the beauty of using systems like these. Hi there. Just briefly want to stop the video to announce that I have finally launched my community, Neuro Architects, where I plan to bring together the smartest people in this space and business owners that want to build the systems of the future together using artificial intelligence. So inside this community, you'll find everything ranging from all the templates that I will make from the YouTube videos, as well as exclusive community calls, and also so much other stuff. So join right now, stay tuned, and I'll see you inside. So this is the n8n system. So it comprises of this automation and also this automation. They both are connected via webhook to this tracker here, which I'll show you how to connect. And I've deleted all the data right now, but if you're curious, this is how it looks, okay? But we're gonna delete everything so that we can start from scratch. So essentially what you do on this sheet, you put in the search terms for the businesses that you want to look for. Perhaps we can do clinic. Let's put the search term. Also, we can put dentist as well. And essentially you can put pretty much any location, but the bigger you go, the more results you're gonna get. Obviously, we can do New York, for example. There's probably a lot of clinics in New York, the US. And we'll leave this to 60 all pages. So for every search term, we're gonna look for 60 pages, and we'll leave this as it is. So this is the amount of stars that the business has. We're going to select all. We can scrape places with or without a website as well. So this is the great thing about this, is that, there might be some businesses that are only registered on Google Maps, and we can search for close places. There's other parameters as well, but we're going to leave it like that. And so let's run this workflow here. Let's go back here and run the scraper. So now it should be running in the background. It's calling Appify, and then we should get the results in a bit. So we're gonna let it run for a second. Okay, so I skipped through a bit of the video so that you don't have to wait. But essentially we have 120 results that I picked, 120 potential contacts that we can message. So now we're going to go to the tracker and we're going to go to the second page, and you're going to see that this is filled in with potential contacts that we can send emails to. So we have here the search engine rank, how well it's ranking on Google Maps or overall in Google. Then we have the business name. So we have a couple of them. We get the actual address as well, country code, country, state. We get, for those that have websites, you can do further scraping and scrape more information about it. Then we have the categories. So we have pretty much everything. I left it a bit general. So, everything that contains clinic, so medical clinic, medical lab. We have pediatric dentists, which I didn't know existed. We have urgent care centers, right? So you can get a bit refined if you want on your search terms, or you can keep it a bit more general. But basically, the more general you are, the more results you're going to get. So it really depends on the quality and volume that you want. Also, another thing that you can play around with is the number of crawl pages. So you can crawl more pages if you need to. Yeah, I'll explain the other ones in a bit more depth later. But let's keep going. We also get the ratings, the reviews. The price is more relevant for restaurants, but I left it there. I'll show you also the other pieces of data that you can pick. You also have the Google Maps URL, data scraped. It's important to log these. If you have a lot of contacts here in this tracker, it's important to understand the dates scraped. And then you have the emails. So not all of them are going to have emails available. So I made it so that you can easily see which ones have emails or not. The thing is that one business can also have multiple emails. So this is the case, right? We have 3 different emails relating to this business. There could be some that have even more. So I saw one that had, I think, 15 emails or something like that, but you get the idea here. There could be more than one. And what we're doing here now is that we're going to send these emails. So if you see here 3 emails, we're just going to add all those emails, all those addresses in the same email. Okay. We have also information regarding the phone number if you want to do some outbound with VAPI, for example, with some voice agents, or you want to do it yourself. And then we have social media profiles if once again you want to do some form of outreach there, or you want to know more about the company and do some more scraping. But essentially what we're going to do now is activate the second automation. It's on test, but you could hit activate if you want. I'm just showing you here how it works in the background. That's why I'm testing it. But yeah, we're going to go back here and let's hit mass send emails. So we're going to hit that, and you're going to see now that the emails that are available, if they got sent, first of all, you're going to receive a message that you saw, email sent successfully, but also we are going to switch from no to yes and have a visual cue as well in the form of colors. So we're going to have green now. And this is so that if you have more contacts here that you add, so that you easily understand which are contacts that you didn't send emails to yet, so that you obviously know that you need to send it. But there's some logic in the background anyways, sending only emails to the addresses that have no, so the letter N on the column S. So you're going to go back here and you're going to see that it's running in a loop and it's going through all of those steps to send an email to each of the rows that we saw before. So for every row that has an email here relating to the contacts, we're going to send an individual personalized email based on some of the information that you see here. And we're going to have a look now at those emails once we are done here with this automation. So you can see here, if I open this, you're going to see how I am sending a bunch of emails here from one of my burner addresses. But you see here that is doing its job. We're going through that entire list that I showed you, but only the ones that obviously have an email. You visually can see how it's sending those messages as well. So we're going to let it finish. And there we go. So you can see here that we did send a couple of emails here, decent amount of them. And you could imagine having to search through Google Maps to individually, find these businesses and, which businesses have emails, and then actually sending those emails in a personalized way as well. So you can see an example here. I was checking that out dentists on Google Maps, right? But there's other businesses as well that are not dentists. So for example, this is probably a bit more of a general thing, right? Because it says businesses in the dentistry, or it's just a matter of personalizing the message. But right now we're grabbing the category and we're feeding that onto the language model so that it understands what it needs to say. Or in terms of, I'm searching businesses in category X. So we give it a bit more of a personal touch. Let's see if one of them loads. Okay, so you can see that it's not perfect. Okay, because I didn't spend too much time refining the prompt, but we can look at that later. But the content of the message itself, I was browsing through medical clinics, right? The medical clinics. So here before we saw that it was a dentist, for example. So you can see how it's tailored for here. I was checking out urgent care centers. right? So as I said, there's many possibilities to even go further with this personalization. It just depends on how much stuff, how much information about the business from Google Maps you want to feed it. But possibilities are endless. That's what I mean. So now that you saw the demo, let's go through the build so I can show you how to build it for yourself, okay? Okay, so there's two aspects of this, okay? There's the automation endpoint aspect, and then there's a tracker aspect. So if you see here, we have this tracker that has two buttons essentially. These two buttons are calling these two separate webhooks. So this first one is calling this first automation via webhook, and then this second one here has where the button is, right? This button here is triggering this second automation via the webhook. How is that happening? How is it that I can press a button and then it's sending this webhook? So first of all, how to create the button? So actually you can go down here, see if I can find it, insert, and then you can put in a drawing, right? So you can add a button here. So in my case, what I did is that I added a shape and then I went like that. And then you can add some text on top, and then you can put send. You know, it's kind of neat knowing that this is Google Sheets. You can do this. This is really nice. Once you're done, then you can hit save and close, and there you go. That's a button. So right click, and then you can move it around. And then over here, you have these three buttons that you can click, and then you can assign a script. So there's a script running in the background when you press the button. And I'm going to show you now how to trigger that script. Okay, so the way you trigger this script is, first of all, you're going to have a script. Hopefully, if you download this tracker, I'll leave a link in the description to download this. You should have everything set up. But in short, what you do is you go to extensions, and then you see here app script. Okay, so for every Google Sheet that you create, you can add an app script on the background to extend the functionalities of that Google script. So it's pretty neat how the way Google thought about this. So essentially we have, you could say we have Airtable capabilities, okay? It's not completely the same, but we have something close to their Airtable automation capabilities inside Google Sheet. If you know how to write the scripts, or you just know how to prompt ChatGPT in order to create the scripts for you. So we have this run actor script. So if you go back here, let's delete this one. This run scraper one, if you hit here and assign a script, you see that we have this send new rows to webhook. So that's linking to this function here. Let me try to zoom in. This function here that I have created. So it's triggering this function. That's what it's doing. And then we have another file that has another function inside it. In this case, it's send emails. And that is referring to the second button right here. Okay, assign a script, you see send emails. Okay, so that's referring to that function here. So you should be able to have this if you download this Google Sheet in the link in the description. It's probably going to all be in the community, but you should have everything there. And I'll add the script separately anyways, if for some reason you don't get to have it if you download the Google Sheet. But yeah, we're doing a couple things here, right? We're essentially, in a nutshell, what we're doing is collecting the information that we have. So, I mean, first of all, we start here, right? With the first script, what we're doing is that we're grabbing all these parameters, we're shaping it in a JSON object, which you'll probably be able to see here. So if you go here, you're gonna see this thing called payload, okay? We added a constant here called payload, and that's kind of how we're shaping the JSON object, or JSON payload, and then we're sending it to this webhook, which corresponds to this first automation here. And if we have a look at the run, you're gonna see that the body, as you say, is language, location query. So try to remember the order, and then have a look at this script here. Language, location, query, max scrolled places per search, right? This is equivalent to this. Essentially what we're doing now is we are calling this Apify scraper, and we are, as a query, right? As the JSON query, we are putting what we got from the webhook, right? Which is coming from these parameters here from Google Sheets. And the scraper that we're running, the actor that we're running, is this one here. So there's this Google Maps email extractor that you can pay per result. So it basically does all the heavy lifting for you. It might be a bit expensive, so you might think $9 per 1,000 results, but it really depends on what you consider expensive, right? So perhaps you would pay for another SaaS tool that can do this for $50 a month, or you might do this yourself. You might be paying with time, right? Before I was actually actually doing this on 2 other separate API scrapers, and it was costing around $13 per 1,000 results, right? You can also have other scrapers that you can pay monthly, so you can get unlimited results. So it really depends how much you do it. But in this case, I'm just getting this one because it's convenient for me to show you guys. So I don't like paying stuff monthly anyways. So this is the stuff that I'm using, and we're gonna see now how to shape that here. So the neat thing about this is you're gonna have a look at this URL. Within this URL, what I do is, so if you go here and you go to the API, right, for whatever scraper you want to use, you're going to go to the API endpoints, and you're going to see that we have different ways of triggering this actor or scraper. The way I used to do it in the past was to run the actor and then have another HTTP request that got the dataset items from the script. But now they changed it, and for many of them, now you can do both in the same HTTP request, which is obviously going to save you in costs. Okay, you're gonna copy this and paste that on this input here, on the URL input. One thing to note is that you need to add the token at the end. Okay, security wise, it's fine. Okay, it's not bad, but if you're sharing this to somebody, right, you're sharing the template to somebody, you could add this somewhere else, right? So you add the URL there, and then you put the JSON body. Okay, and this comes from obviously the previous node, and you can just drag and drop. If you want, I'll leave, but I think if you download this as a template, you're gonna have this already pre-built. So you're not gonna have to do much. The only thing you would have to do is obviously replace this, and make sure that you also copy the app script that I added here in the right manner, because we're shaping this payload in a specific way. So yeah, I mean, it doesn't really matter, because then once it's here, then you can just drag it and drop it wherever you need to. It's not actually that important, but hopefully you get the idea. If there's anything unclear, let me know in the community. I'm happy to discuss this. So that's that. And then we're just sending it to Google Sheets. So the way we're sending it to Google Sheets is a bit specific. It has to be specific. So all of these are normal, but then we get to the emails, for example. So if you see here on the left, we are receiving the emails as an array with object shape like this. So if you go to JSON, you're gonna see it a bit better. Down. Let's get to the emails. Where are the emails? Okay, so here you go. So we see here that we have these emails separated, but the problem with this is that if you try to retrieve, you can only retrieve this via the emails object within this array, okay? So what do I mean? Let me be a bit more specific. I'm gonna have to find this again. Okay, for example, sure, you can select this one, okay? But I wanted to be able to select all of them at the same time, so that it's formatted properly, so that we can then send all of these emails together for the same business, if that makes sense, right? I want to send an email with all of these email addresses which are from the same business. I don't want to send different ones for the same business, okay? It just helps with the logic later. So what I do is that I put some smart expressions here. I put this smart expression so that I can join these together with a comma. So I go through them one by one, and then I just separate them with a comma. And then we have some other stuff here. But you should have this in the community for you to download. Okay, so once that's done, then that's when we get all of the stuff here, right here in the tracker, already pre-filled for you. There's here some formatting, right, to color it yellow and red, and we get all this information. It's just a matter of putting it in the right column. So once that's done, then that's when the second button comes in place, right? So as I showed you before, we assign this script, and then we go here, and it's going to trigger this one. Essentially, once again, we're doing the same thing, nothing crazy. We're just grabbing the information from all the relevant columns and then sending that to this webhook address, okay? So you're going to copy that webhook address, and you're going to paste it on the Google script. So extensions app script, you can open that, and then go to the second script and then paste it. You're going to end up seeing a constant called webhook URL, or a variable called webhook URL. And you're just gonna paste it in between the, how do you call this? The quotes, right? So that's where you put it. Okay, then there's some other logic that takes care of, sending you a message. So we can test that out right now. Okay, so we're not listening for any test events, so that's fine. I don't want to send the emails again, but if you see this, we're gonna press that. We're getting a message. So this is all done through the script. So it's really cool, because within the script we can do so many things. As you see, you can bring up a message box. You can alter the state of the cells, you can add colors, it's really cool. It's really cool, really powerful stuff. But in this case, I wrote the logic so that it understands when we were not able to send stuff to webhooks, so therefore this message. So yeah, that's what's happening. So that's when we're sending this here. So essentially we have the code block here for two things. The first one is so that we shape the emails object. So I'm going to show you here. So we are receiving this in a very specific way. So we have an array which has several items which have also other stuff inside. It's another array with more things. In this case, actually, okay, if you want to be correct, this is called a list, okay? And this is an array because it has objects with different data types. So we have a list and then we have arrays as well. What we want to do is we just want to grab this element here and what's inside it. So we're doing some cleaning here in the code so that we only get that. If you see here, so we're getting this first one, right? The elements inside this array, and then we're doing the same for this one and so on and so on. So then we're passing it over this loop, okay? The only way, so I've seen some people try the loop and perhaps for many of you it didn't work or you don't understand how it's done. There's not much videos about it either. So you gotta make sure that you pass an array, okay? Or a list, something containing several objects inside so that it's then able to go through each, okay? I can make a video if you want separate on the community or whatever to explain that. But I want to be a bit brief here. I don't want to make the video too long. But essentially now with this formatted correctly, now we're looping through every single array, okay? So this is going to be the first one we're going through, okay? We're passing all this. And then for the second round in the loop, we're going through this. And then the third round, we're going through this. Then the fourth, we're going through this. And that's what we are passing here in the email sender. So we're going through each object here containing all the different variables. And what we're passing here is pretty much all the business details as the LLM input. So don't forget, here is where you add the input, okay? Not the prompt. For the prompt, you leave it here as a system message. So make sure you understand the difference and where to put each thing. So I made a big prompt here so that it's able to write a proper cold email based off this information. So I told it, let's see if I can zoom out here. I told it that it's going to receive a text input with this structure, and that's what it receives here. And then I'm giving it some further instructions. So be friendly, the email should be concise, right? So all these little things that make an email that you want to click and open. So there's a lot of things. So you can download this template if you want to see more of that. But that's what we're doing. We're going through that, and then the output of the email, that we're putting it here. So you can add a BCC as well if you want to keep track of these emails. And perhaps what you will want to do as well is to put these, instead of sending them straight away, you would have some form of human in the loop if you want. You can add a human in the loop node, or you can send them directly to drafts in case you want to review them before you send them. But essentially what I have here is the message that I'm sending. You saw before that some of the emails had hi and then hi again. That's just a matter of refining the prompt and you'll get it. Just tell it that please only output the body and nothing else. Don't output any other aspects of the email, such as the introduction or the greetings. So what I learned is that if you do that, then it's going to be a bit more accurate, because if you tell it to, send the best regards Frank, sometimes it might miss it, sometimes it might not. So only allow it to be dynamic on this part. Okay, so like this. I think for me, that's what worked best. Options. So if you don't want to get caught in this trap, make sure to hit add options and then hit append n8n attributions. Because if you send a message, if you send an email, it's going to say a little message on the bottom saying this message has been sent by n8n. So I guess you don't want that into your call outreach. So make sure to remove that. And then, as I said, as a BCC, I'm just tracking it like that. Personally, the subject, I would add it myself, just because this doesn't need much personalization in my opinion. If you have a really good one, it shouldn't change much on the times people open. Obviously you need a good subject. I mean, up to you, do whatever you think is best. And over here I'm just passing through the email. Okay, so the way I did it, so if you remember on the first automation, I added the emails in a specific way, right? So separated by commas on all that. So now that helps, because now in here, I can add all the emails together and they're separated by commas. And this, unfortunately, in this case, I can't show you, but we have everything, okay? We will have all these emails, separated by commas here in one object that we can all call directly. So we will have all these separated by comma. So if you remember here, you're sending it to more than one person. Let's find one. Here, for example, you can see we're sending it to 2 people. And the way we're able to do this is by separating it by commas. So I'm just giving you an explanation to why I was shaping it like that before in the previous automation. That's about it. Obviously add your credentials. So n8n made it very easy now. It used to be a bit more difficult before. You had to create a Google Cloud project and whatnot, but I think the only thing that you need to do is sign in with Google, and that's pretty much it. If that doesn't work for some reason, make sure that you actually create a Google Cloud project and enable the Google Maps API. So I have another video about a scraper that I didn't make that goes through that process if you want to have a look at it. But I think if you sign in with Google here, I think it should be pretty much all done. I think they just removed the entire hassle of creating a GCP. But yeah, once you have that, then that should be good to go. I added this so that this doesn't stop abruptly, just to add something here. You don't really need to add this, but I added it. But essentially that's it. And then you choose a chat model. Obviously add your credentials and so on. Feel free to experiment. If you want to add something that is not from OpenAI, you can add also the Open Router node here. And then you can go to Open Router, create an account, grab the API key from here. So if you go to keys, then you can create an account here and then paste it back on here. Okay, so if you open that, paste that there, verify, and then you can choose a wide variety of models, some really nice open source ones such as Qwen. So you got XAI as well. Pretty cool stuff. That's pretty much it. I think I explained everything. So if I missed anything, just let me know down in the comments, but I think I covered everything. And yeah, so I'll leave a link in the description to the community so you can download this. You can download the Google Sheet because it might seem like a headache to do from scratch, and I understand. Perhaps something that I didn't go through was Apify API. So one thing that I perhaps didn't cover was how do you even understand what to input? So in this stage here, we're sending stuff to the scraper, right? You might be like, oh, well, I don't know what to send. Well, all of this is defined by the person who made the scraper. You can actually test the scraper here, but you can set it up all here, and then you're going to see, if you switch to JSON, you're going to see this object here. So if for some reason you don't have it on my template, all you can do is just drag it, okay, copy it, paste it back onto here, and then fill it in with the dynamic variables that you have from the webhook. Okay, so yeah, that's pretty much it. I showed you how to make the buttons as well. All of this, you should have it already. There's some logic that goes behind doing the drag and drops, and yeah, add it here. That you have some limits. But anyways, you should have everything in the video description. So one other thing as well is that if you want to run this, the Google scripts, the Google app scripts, if you run it for the first time, you might have something that might pop up that will say, okay, you need some permissions. This requires some permissions. So all you have to do is hit on advanced, then give the necessary permissions to Google so that it can run the app script. But once you have that done, then all you have to do is just paste this here. And that's pretty much it. Then go back and connect everything, right? Connect the buttons that I showed you how to do before, right? The 3 buttons, and then assign a script. Same here. And then you're all good to go, okay? Once again, if you need any help, just let me know in the community. So that's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it and found some value in it. And if you did, then please give me a thumbs up and a follow. I would appreciate it a lot. And if you didn't, please let me know why in the comments below. Any feedback is good feedback. And yeah, I'll be leaving all the resources in the Neural Architects community. So if you don't know what this is, it's a hub where I'm planning to join business owners and hungry builders that want to build the systems of the future using AI. So join whilst it's free. Okay, that's pretty much it. So I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.